Hello everyone, I'm Jay Key with YHS on Monster Island, and today we're going to talk Tokusatsu. But first, if you aren't familiar with YHS on Monster Island...
Are you gaga over Godzilla? Cuckoo for Kong? Maybe you're a Mothra maniac. If so, then there's a podcast just for you. From the creators of Yes Have Some and Toy Anxiety comes a show that's been described as being as fun as a trip to World Children's Land and as informative as a Dr. Yamane lecture. It's YHS on Monster Island. Join the intrepid duo of kaiju devotees, the Tattooed Titan of Tokusatsu, Jacob Walsh, and acclaimed science fiction author Jay Key as they discuss all facets of the kaiju landscape. From films to fandom, television to toys. It will make you laugh, it will make you cry, it will make you love this rubber-suited theater of the absurd that is the giant monster genre. So fire up that maser cannon, fill up the Moonlight SY3, and mind the spine gap. Then head on over to YHS on Monster Island. Video feed available on YouTube on the Yes Have Some channel and available on all major podcast services.
But now on to Ultraman. When you think of words like Tokusatsu or Henshin, Ultraman comes to mind. From his debut in 1966 through countless follow-up TV shows, billions in merchandise sold, and an iconography that can match any other media property, Ultraman has been part of global culture for 6 decades. And the launching pad for this unprecedented success was a 39-episode television show from Tsuburaya Productions that ran from July 1966 through April 1967. And so it's only natural for both new fans and old fans alike to ask, what were the very best Ultraman episodes? Well, if there's 2 things that people love, it's making lists and arguing about those lists. People love to rank things. Top 10 this, top 25 that. Heck, I bet you even made a list of the top 10 lists ranking the top 10 Ultraman episodes. And if you did, kudos to you, sir. Hey, guess what? We made a list. And you know what? Somebody's probably going to argue about it. You know what? That's what the comment section is for. But we like our list. And the goal of our list isn't to end debates, it's to start them. So I think we did a good job. I factored in things that were important to me. Personal enjoyment, quality of production, kaiju design, maybe historical significance. Those are my criteria. What are yours? Could be totally different. For example, I really like it when the problem and the solution of an episode is in an ethical gray area. I don't like it when missiles get shot at kaiju anuses. That's me. You do you. This is us doing us. So let's join Hayata, Captain Muramatsu, Ide, Arashi, Hoshino, Fuji, and let's get on with this countdown, the top 10 episodes of Ultraman 1966.
What better way to start off the countdown than with the episode that introduced Ultra fans to arguably the greatest antagonist of the series, Alien Bolton? It was obvious, since this was only the second episode, and the first actually produced, that the show hadn't quite found its formula. And usually the throw everything against the wall and see what sticks mantra leads to episodes ending up on bottom 10 lists. But it works for Shoot the Invaders, released on July 24th, 1966. In fact, the frequent shifts in tonality add to the narrative velocity of the episode. Viewers are treated to some fourth wall breaking, which was abandoned after this episode, where Ide wants to tell us the story of how he got his black eye. That in itself is a gag, because what we see during the episode has nothing to do with how Ide actually got his shiner. During the episode, we get copious amounts of Ide's zaniness. I mean, copious amounts. But the silliness is offset by some truly creepy shots and sounds, and Shoot the Invaders tries to say something, as many of the better entries in the series do. Notably, the scene where Muramatsu requests for a diplomatic solution with the alien race, and it's laughed at by the military and government leaders. It's one of the better scenes in the episode. But even amidst its comedy and commentary and solid action, Shoot the Invaders is also the first time we see Ultraman essentially commit genocide, albeit to save the Earth, by destroying a ship with 2 billion bacteria-sized Bolton on board. This internal struggle will continue to be a through line throughout the Ultra series. Shoot the Invaders was a memorable episode that was the launching pad for many critical elements of the Ultra series, and it kicks off our top 10 list. Next in our list is an episode that helped expand the Ultraman universe while being wrapped up in a neat, action-packed adventure. The Blue Stone of Baraji, aside from being the title with the most pronunciations, really augmented both the mythology around the Ultra beings and the global nature of the Science Patrol. For the latter, we get mentions of Science Patrol units from Turkey, France, and India, and we even get Jim from Paris HQ joining the crew on their mission. More importantly to the franchise, we get our first acknowledgement of an Ultra being coming to Earth previously. In this case, Noah is hinted at possibly being the inspiration of the biblical Noah. But what makes the episode top 10 worthy is that these enhancements to the macro level story don't slow down a compelling micro-level story that looks more like a lost entrant in the Sinbad series than a tokusatsu television show. You get a forgotten desert city, a magical blue stone, a telepathic queen, angry villagers, and a very game kaiju. Antlar was built up in the story by being a challenging opponent for Noah, and he also delivered in his exciting duel with our Ultraman. Overall, the Blue Stone of Baraji delivers on multiple fronts in a manner worthy of the number 9 spot on our list. Coming in at number 8 is the first, but not the last, Ultraman episode directed by the unorthodox and incomparable Akio Jisoji. Overthrow the Surface, released in December of 1966, is a perfect example of Jisoji's unique, quasi-surrealist style of filmmaking. Since the story centered around a race of underground humanoids making their move to conquer the surface by brainwashing Ultraman, Jisoji's choices with lighting, from the obvious to the more delicate, gave the entire episode a welcomed, eerie feel, a subtle connective tissue to the subterranean antagonists. Had the episode simply been Hayata and crew thwarting the underground people's plot, it would have been a solid show, no doubt, especially with Jisoji's expert guidance. But Overthrow the Surface also gives us one of the most beloved and well-designed kaiju in the series, Telestan. On top of that, the monster's destruction scenes, including his great entrance, are some of the best in the series. It shouldn't be a surprise that with an artfully shot episode, with an intriguing plot, and one of the top monster opponents in the Ultra series, Overthrow the Surface lands in our number 8 spot. For the 7th episode on our list, the series takes a much darker turn with the Phantom of the Snow Mountains. Writer Tetsuo Kinjo taps into his real-life experience dealing with the post-war discrimination of the Okinawan people. However, in a powerful and genius move by Kinjo, the dark subject matter is presented against the beautiful backdrop of a luxurious ski resort in the snow-covered mountains. This episode packs a ton in its runtime and expertly navigates the idea that everyone, including the Science Patrol members, are complex characters, an always changing shade of gray, not black and white. The snow girl, Yunkiko, is thought to be born from a mystical snow woman, having survived a winter storm alone as a toddler. But her ties to the woolly kaiju Wu, surely a favorite of the nature boy, start to scare off tourists to the anger of locals in hotel management. The pity and sadness that you feel for the snow girl is unrivaled in the series, but she is not without her own faults. The hotel manager does feel sorry to some degree for Yunkiko, and understandably, he doesn't want his resort or paying customers to be killed by Wu, walking that fine line between greed and compassion. Even Arashi singularly focuses on the elimination of Wu, siding with the resort owner without even considering the snow girl or the real cause of Wu's appearances. Ide, used more throughout the series as comic relief, struggles the most with the decision to destroy the monster, bringing up his own personal loss and viewing he and the Snow Girl as kindred spirits. Other than some of the locals, who are more one-dimensionally antagonistic, the interplay of these complex characters and their motivations creates a fascinating drama that goes beyond the bad monsters defeated by good Science Patrol formula. And the ending will bring tears to the most hardened individual. From a historical perspective, Phantom of Snow Mountain, the 30th in this series, gives us our first look at the Ultraman C-type mask. For these reasons, this episode lands in our top 10 list. Do you want pure ultra fun? Monster melees? How about a cute kaiju with a balloon? Then the Monster Anarchy Zone should be in your list. It's in ours at number 6. Unlike some of the others on the list, there doesn't seem to be a deeper commentary amidst the action. It's simply an adventure story done really, really well. And with 5 monsters, 2 being on the short list of the most iconic in the Ultra universe. You get the debut of the devious Red King, the beloved Pigmon, the winged Chandlar, the burrowing Magular, and the carnivorous plant Soufflon. When the Science Patrol goes to investigate missing scientists on Tartara Island and discover only a lone survivor, Matsui, the SSSP and Matsui, with a little help from a balloon-toting Pigmon, and Ultraman manage to endure the Tatara Island kaiju and honor the fallen scientist before the episode ends. Oh yeah, the real hero of the episode, it's Pigmon, in his first of many Ultra Series deaths. Oh Pigmon, how we love thee. Seriously, this one is just wall-to-wall enjoyment. If you don't like the Monster Anarchy Zone, you probably don't like Tokusatsu, or being happy. And it makes us happy to have it at number 6 on our list. The 5th entry in our list, The Forbidden Words, is here primarily because of one reason: the compelling nature of the main antagonist, Mephiles. In a major change of pace from a rampaging beast destroying cities, or an alien trying to make Earth their new home, Mephiles just wants to take over Earth because he wants to, and to show that he can do it without any sort of violence. He's just a bit of an ass. A cocky ass at that, but one that's extremely powerful. Mephiles could easily have been another bit of Ultraman fodder, but instead, he was made to be his equal, and maybe even his intellectual superior. In fact, the final battle ends in a stalemate, with Mephiles promising to return to take over Earth. It's true, the unique motivation of Mephiles is paramount to the episode's success, but the theme of all humans being invested in Earth is nearly as intriguing. Mephiles claims to challenge the human spirit, and through Fuji's younger brother, Satoru, the human spirit holds up under dire pressure. It's an optimistic view of the world, but timed well in the series to show the progress of humankind before Ultraman's ultimate departure. The episode also includes some excellent kaiju bonuses, including the fan favorite Giant Fuji, and Mephiles' illusions of Baltan, Zareb, and Ultra Q's Keemer, in a cool crossover from the original Ultra show. Mephiles may have been unsuccessful in his goal of owning the Earth by breaking the human spirit, but he still manages to wind up as the 5th best episode of Ultraman. What an ending! What an episode! If you have Farewell Ultraman, the 39th and final episode of the series, as your number 1, you won't see us do a double take. This episode is the quintessential television finale, raising the global stakes in a manner that we had not seen previously, giving us a new bad, Zeton, that would go on to be an Ultra regular, sprinkling in a bit more into the mysterious origins of Ultraman with the introduction of his superior Zophi, and with the SSSP being the ones to vanquish Zeton, not Ultraman. Ultimately, the metaphorical handoff to the humans as guardians of their own planet was achieved, the payoff to the 39-episode series. The show really shines as it unveils the full-scale Zetonian invasion, an upgrade over the Baltan invasion in Science Patrol in Outer Space. A Zetonian success is believable, especially with Zeton outpointing the titular hero, Ultraman's first real defeat. When Ultraman stands over the Science Patrol headquarters, defending it, it truly gives us one of the most lasting and powerful images from the tokusatsu genre. Other than some mild confusion around if Hayata actually remembers his time as Ultraman, depending if you watch the Japanese or English language version, this is about as satisfying of an ending as one could hope for, and it's satisfying that we can include this on our list at number 4. Akio Jisoji strikes again with the tragic story of Jamila in episode 23, My Home is Earth. Visually, the episode is classic Jisoji, establishing the tone with bold choices and atmospheric lighting, in some cases going as far as having characters entirely blacked out when speaking. But what makes My Home is Earth so memorable is a commitment to the notion that not everything is what it seems. The nations of Earth are gathering at a peace conference, alluding to the idea that, with technological advancement and the mutual interest of ridding the world of devastating kaiju and holding off alien invasions, that everyone gets along in the interest of peace. But as we learn, even with these advancements, they aren't entirely free of secretive cover-ups. The character of Ide, most utilized for his comic talents up until that point, shows he is more than just an eccentric, becoming the moral compass of the crew as he refuses to kill Jamila. We explore this a bit more 7 episodes later in The Phantom of the Snow Mountains. Jamila himself, grotesque and off-putting in design, is really a human that evolved or devolved into a fire-breathing, hate-filled kaiju. The episode itself even toys with this concept, starting off as a run-of-the-mill tokusatsu episode with invisible spaceships and plenty of pew-pewing before being revealed as a grim yet moving avant-garde presentation. The episode is truly a must-watch, even if your dreams will forever be haunted by those dying moans of Jamila. Sometimes there are episodes that are just hard to define, and this is definitely one of those instances. The final Akio Jisoji-led episode on the list, The Monster Graveyard, is equal parts solemn and silly, heartwarming and hilarious. To this day, I'm still not sure if this is the least or the most serious entry into the series. On the surface, viewers learn what happens to kaiju after they are disposed of by Ultraman. They enter a realm of outer space known as the Monster Graveyard. As the Science Patrol learns of this fate, they begin to feel a sorrow for the vanquished kaiju. They are living creatures after all, and many didn't ask to be put in the situation that led to their ultimate demise. You immediately think of beasts that were just awakened through no fault of their own, like Gomora, or that their food source just happened to be something valuable to humans, like Gamakujira. The funerals and tributes by both the SSSP and Ultraman remain some of the most endearing and poignant to this day. But the star of the show is undoubtedly the monster Shibozu. Despite a grim and menacing exterior, he just wants to go back home to the graveyard. His path of accidental destruction is executed brilliantly by Jisoji. As the viewer, you are rooting for him, and then rooting for Ultraman to try and get him back to the Celestial Cemetery. The conclusion involving a rocket made to look like Ultraman is one of the most hysterical and fantastical and best endings of any episode. Viewers can rejoice as Shibozu gets back to the monster graveyard, and we can rejoice that he lands in the number 2 spot on our list of the very best Ultraman episodes. We can't unveil our top pick without sharing some of our honorable mentions, since there were just so many to choose from. Some good ones ending up missing the cut despite having memorable kaiju and seijin like the mysterious dinosaur base, the Prince of Monsters, and Human Specimens 5 and 6. Or the successful infusion of other genres, like the fun caper that is the Coast Guard Command, or the comedic nature of Rascal from Outer Space. Or establishing future Ultra tropes like an evil Ultra in Brother from Another Planet, or the first full-scale alien invasion in Science Patrol in Space. Or just projecting the series through a different lens, like the heartfelt, terrifying cosmic rays, or the surrealist stylings of Present from the Sky. Or what about the very first episode, Ultra Operation Number 1, that introduced the world to our hero from the Land of Light? If these were in your top 10 list, you won't get any arguments here. But now, onto our number 1. When deciding the top Ultraman episode, number 1 in the criteria was simply which episode best captures the essence of 1966's Ultraman series. Fun, silly, exciting, inventive, heartfelt, it had to be over the top in the right ways, action-packed, but not so much that our characters are forgotten. One episode hits all of these notes, and might be not only a perfect Ultraman episode, but one of the best in Tokusatsu television history. On March 26, 1967, the 37th episode of Ultraman, The Little Hero, aired, and it's number 1 on our top 10 list. The opening scene is one that you will never forget. Our beloved Pigmon, somehow not dead after being killed off in the Monster Anarchy Zone episode, appears in a toy store, featuring Ultra Kaiju toys nonetheless. In a plot point perfect for early Tokusatsu, a noted dolphin linguist, for lack of a better term, deciphers Pigmon's monster language and relays a dire warning. A monster chief is resurrecting 60 kaiju to get revenge on the Science Patrol. This is amazing stuff. But on a parallel narrative, Ide, the human character with arguably the most development in the series, begins to question the need for the Science Patrol, since Ultraman always saves the day. It's a very interesting angle and one that could have spawned even more character progression. The third act hits on one of the most important elements of a good Ultraman episode: enjoyable kaiju battles. In The Little Hero, we get a resurrected Teleston and Durako, and of course, the monster chief himself, Geronimon. In a perfect ending, it's the combined efforts of Ultraman and the Science Patrol that defeat the behemoth Witch Doctor. The Little Hero gives us a bit of everything that makes Ultraman great, even an unexpected moment of tenderness as the Science Patrol pays respects to Pigmon, making him an honorary team member in death. It's the touching end to an episode that can only be described as upper tier Tokusatsu.
So that was our list. Did we forget any? The Little Hero was our number 1. What was yours? Let us know in the comments. And you know what? It's okay if we argue about this one. It's fine. So from the Science Patrol headquarters to Nebula M78 to the Monster Graveyard, I bid you...